Today I learned about a very excellent social media account called Nintendo Patents Watch. This account keeps a watchful eye on Nintendo and all of the patents that they file and kind of goes into them and describes them. But then additionally, even beyond that, they just kind of, they go into a lot of like technical stuff. They really just keep track of all the technical, like the business side and the as in like the technology that goes into Nintendo products. Some like news clarifications. I think that's pretty cool. So I don't know. Seems like a pretty good account here. I've just now started to kind of dig into it, but the reason I bring it up is because Nintendo just filed today 2 new patents for Joy-Con 2 controllers, and I figure the easiest way to show it all off is to just kind of look at it here, because Nintendo Patents Watch has laid it all out very, very nicely. As always, we must keep in mind that just because Nintendo files a patent, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to produce something using the patent that they filed. Do we have to say it every time? I mean, it's like, I think everyone knows by now, because we say it every time. But at the same time, if you don't say it, then if someone hasn't heard it before, they might be like, oh, we're definitely getting this. You kind of have to clarify. I don't know, but whatever. We're saying it now. These patents may never, ever lead to products whatsoever. It's very possible, but we're still going to look at them because they might. And if they do, that would be interesting. This first patent right here, it's a crank, isn't it? It shows a crank. Okay, well, in the first embodiment, the crank features a rotary disc, which is tracked by the mouse sensor through a window. 2 magnets secure the attachment. I really like Nintendo. I like how inventive they are, and I like how the Joy-Con 2 control. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know. Here you can see the thing. There you can see where it attaches. I don't know what that means at all. This is nonsensical to me, so I'm just going to ignore it. But I like Nintendo because they want to utilize everything they have. They like to play. They like to experiment. And so, of course, the optical sensor is mainly just for enabling mouse controls, because the optical sensor is just a camera. It's just a tiny little camera, like a super duper duper low resolution camera that can just see if things are going by it. You put it on a surface and it can make out enough details of that surface to just translate into movement. So like that all by itself, cool, fine. But then you can do more with it. You can attach something to it and utilize that sensor. So in this case, you have a crank and the optical sensor is telling that it's clever. It's a fun idea. So yeah, let's talk about this crank right here. I would say the most obvious application for something like this, if you want to look at video game history, would be fishing games. We've seen controllers and accessories similar to this over the years, just for fishing. You crank it and that imitates you reeling in a fishing rod, and so there you go. It's hard for me to believe that Nintendo would suddenly find it so important to give us a fishing accessory in the year 2025. I feel like those kinds of games, you used to have a lot more like fishing games and hunting games and even just games with weird accessories. There was once a time when Nintendo, and really any company, they were all a lot more gung-ho about just putting out a weird piece of plastic to let you play their weird game. I feel like it doesn't happen nearly as much anymore, and if it was gonna happen, like why fishing and why now? I really is that worth selling in stores? I don't know, but you also have to consider it doesn't necessarily just have to be used for fishing games, because this also brings to mind the play date. In fact, my mind went to play date before fishing, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, the Playdate is like a little handheld console that has a bunch of games, like a bunch of people just pulled together games that utilize this crank, just various games where you have just like a spinning thing and you can control the games in different ways using that crank. It's cool. Every time I go to PAX, there's always like a huge one just like a big one, you can turn the big crank. So that's also possible. Again, Nintendo does like to experiment with whatever they've got. So, like, sure, I could see them maybe doing something like that. Possibly. Not 100% sure. But there you go. That's that. Nintendo has patented a weird crank for the Joy-Con. And then the second patent presents a clickable wheel. The wheel's rotation is tracked by the mouse sensor via a gear train. Its click is transmitted to the SL button. The attachment features a second button for pressing the SR. So it's basically a scroll wheel that can click. And of course, the mind immediately goes to the scroll wheel on a computer mouse. But the thing is, this isn't how the mouse works. You know, you could do mouse mode. The R button or whatever is up here. That's where you would want the scroll wheel. That would be the equivalent of an actual scroll wheel. This shows the Joy-Con upside down so that the sensor is facing up, and this clickable scroll wheel is just sitting right on it. So that means that if you were using this, you wouldn't be able to move the mouse around. You would just be able to scroll and click. I mean, maybe you could still use the gyro to move the controller and then control something. But, and maybe the stick, you could still be doing sticks and buttons and then also having a scroll. Again, I don't know what kind of gaming experience would require moving a stick and having buttons, but then also just a scroll wheel that clicks. I don't know, but Nintendo thought it was a good idea to patent this, and so it is possible that they'll give us something like this in the future. But then again, that would be a whole thing. That would be an entire thing, a piece of plastic that they have to sell and that we have to buy in order to play their weird game with this. And you know, are these things related? Is this going to be some new, like, weird Labo kind of thing where they just need a couple weird things, or is this completely different, or is it just ideas that they wanted to secure just in case they wanted them in the future, or something similar? The patents aren't always like one-to-one. You know, they don't always look precisely that way. It could just be like, that's how the technology works, but the actual real version of it ends up being different. I don't know. And you know, I don't usually look too closely at this patent stuff, but I will say that it's funny. I went here to like look at the actual patents, and the way they describe them is just funny. The peripheral equipment has an input device detachably mounted thereon. The input device is provided with a protrusion and a mouse operation sensor. The protrusion is detachably attached to a game device recess provided in a game device so as to protrude from a side surface. It's very it's very specific. I mean, I guess I understand this is a legal thing, but it is very, very, very specific. And you know what? I couldn't help but notice this. I started reading these. We're kind of off the subject now. Still on the subject of patents, though. They filed this today. That's reversed for U.S. people. August 7th, but then on July 31st, they filed a whole bunch of patents. And I'm reading through them, and I'm like, information processing system, and I'm thinking like, what, like an SD card or something? A mesh of a primary object? You start reading through them. Terrain object, voxel data. These are all for DK. And then I went back to here, to Nintendo Patents Watch, and I'm not gonna go down all the way, but like, you go down far enough, you see that yes, they clearly have filed a whole bunch of patents for DK. And okay, never mind, I will go down because they gathered up the pictures. Right here. No, that's for Paper Mario, so that's interesting. See, I'm missing stuff here. We gotta follow this. We gotta follow this person. Why are they patenting something for a mechanism to block or attenuate decal projection onto unintended? So is that just like to fix a bug or something for Paper Mario? Does that mean we're gonna get a patch? Does that mean we're gonna get a patch? I bet that means we're gonna get a patch. I bet it does. Look at all this stuff. Look at all this stuff. Something for World Championship Edition? Okay. Yeah, there's a bunch. Okay, now, so here we go. Here's 20 additional patents for Donkey Kong Bonanza. Right after the 18 published by USPTO. So like a bunch of them, and you can actually like see the, You can see crashing through the ground and the terrain, and there's one somewhere, where is it, where you can even see the fractones, like breaking the fractones is like, you can see them with their little eyes. Oh, where is it? Come on, I'm gonna find it. Yeah, there you go, right here. You could even see it right there. Like, I guess Nintendo patented the idea of breaking an NPC into a suggested shape. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess this is really a much bigger conversation because, you know, we don't like the idea of companies patenting game like design elements, concepts. So I need to look into it. I don't know how long Nintendo's been doing this. Are they always patenting a whole bunch of stuff? And again, that doesn't mean they're gonna like stop people from using it. It just could be that if there's any element of a game that they feel is unique and hasn't been done before, they patent it. I don't know. I don't think they're necessarily stopping other people from doing it. Maybe they would. Maybe it just hasn't come up yet. I do not know. Oh, look at that. Something for Drag and Drive. It's a patent for Drag and Drive. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but I did think that was interesting. Just interesting to just see a whole bunch of DK patents. But anyway, the point of this video, crank wheel on a Joy-Con 2. All right. Would you purchase a crank wheel for a Joy-Con 2 controller? Let me know. Down in the comments.